Dear beautiful soul, I delivered a session this week on Zoom called The Hidden Cost of Fine: How High Achieving Women Lose Power, Influence, and Income by Showing Up as Less Than They Are. 15 women showed up, brilliant, accomplished professionals logging in from their home offices, executive desks, and quiet corners carved out between meetings. They came because they were tired of being overlooked, tired of being the most competent person in the room, but somehow still invisible. Tired of working twice as hard for half the recognition. Tired of saying, it's fine, when what they really meant was, I'm capable, but nobody sees it. The energy in that virtual room was stunning. Not because everyone had it figured out, but because when we started unpacking what fine was actually costing them, a few brave souls began speaking truth about something deeper. I'm exhausted from having to prove myself over and over, one woman said. I've been so good at playing by the old rules, structured, linear, always pushing forward. But I can feel something shifting in how leadership works now. And when I try to lead differently, I get feedback that I'm too emotional. So which version of me is supposed to show up? Another shared, I know my work is excellent, but I'm tired of watching people who are less qualified get promoted because they look the part in ways I apparently don't. The conversation that unfolded was one of those rare moments where you can feel the collective exhale through the screen. Because here's what became clear as we talked. These women didn't just have a presence problem because they're fine. They were caught in something much bigger. The leadership transition everyone's talking about, from command and control to collaborative, from always on to rhythmic, from purely strategic to emotionally intelligent, isn't just theoretical. It's happening in real time. And the women leading through it, they're paying a price nobody talks about. The price of settling for it's fine while the rules are changing mid-game. It's not just about the promotions that go to someone else because decision makers couldn't quite see you in the role, even though you've been doing the work of two people. It's not just about standing in front of your closet every morning, exhausted before the day even starts because nothing feels right for who you're becoming. And it's not just about feeling undervalued, underappreciated, and overlooked. It's about the very real cost of trying to show up authentically while still having to operate within systems that reward performance over presence. You're learning to honor your natural rhythms, to work with your energy instead of against it, while reporting to people who still measure success by FaceTime and hustle. You're trying to match your insides to your outsides, to show up as your whole self, while navigating organizations that haven't caught up to what integrated leadership actually looks like. You're building the bridge while you're walking on it and calling it fine when you're anything but. Here's what I've come to understand through this work. The old model relied on constant output, linear progress, emotional control, pushing through, and separating who you are from what you do. The emerging leadership model requires working in cycles, honoring rhythms, emotional intelligence, sustainable pacing, and integrating who you are with how you lead. Most high-achieving women aren't choosing between these two models. They're living in both simultaneously and managing the exhaustion of translation, the credibility risks of being too far ahead, and the loneliness of pioneering something that doesn't have a roadmap yet. But here's what I saw in that Zoom room. When women stop settling for fine and start speaking the truth about their value, this transition, their energy, and what they bring to the table, something shifts. The isolation lifts, the path forward becomes clearer, and the possibility expands. Because the truth is, you're not tired because you're doing it wrong. You're tired because you're doing something incredibly difficult. You're learning how to balance structure and flow. You're figuring out how to bring your whole self to work without losing credibility. You're discovering how to honor your natural rhythms while still hitting your deadlines. This is the work of integration. And integration isn't about choosing between masculine and feminine energies. It's about learning to access both structure and flow, strategy and intuition, pushing forward and pulling back to rest. The women who are mastering this aren't abandoning the structures that got them here. They're learning when to use them and when to trust something else entirely. And this is what leadership looks like in transition. It's not perfect, it's not polished, and it's definitely not fine. But it is real. And when you stop pretending you have it figured out and start acknowledging the actual work you're doing, holding both worlds, translating between paradigms, pioneering a new model while the old one is still running, something remarkable happens. You give yourself permission to stop fragmenting. You realize that matching your insides to your outsides isn't self indulgent, it's strategic. You understand that honoring your rhythms isn't weakness, it's sustainability. And you become exactly the kind of leader the world needs right now. Not because you figured it all out, but because you're brave enough to stop settling for fine and start building something better. P.S. The exhaustion you're feeling isn't personal failure. It's proof you're on the front lines of real change. And the work you're doing to integrate structure and flow, to match your insides to your outsides, to honor your rhythms while staying effective, that's the future of a new world being built in real time. You're not behind, you're pioneering. Hashtag transition team for the win.